Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel. One of the most powerful abilities a person can develop in life is self-control. Many people want success, peace, and happiness, but they struggle because they cannot control their thoughts, emotions, and actions. When a person cannot control themselves, they often react emotionally, make impulsive decisions, and lose focus on their goals. But when someone learns to control themselves, everything begins to change. Their mind becomes calmer, their decisions become wiser, and their life becomes more focused. Self-control is the foundation of discipline, success, and inner strength. In this video, we will explore powerful lessons that will help you learn how to control yourself and build a stronger mind. Lesson 1. Control your emotions. The first and most important step in learning how to control yourself is learning how to control your emotions. Every human being experiences emotions every day. We feel happiness, anger, frustration, excitement, fear, and disappointment. These emotions are natural parts of life. However, the real challenge is not feeling emotions. The challenge is how we react to them. Many people allow their emotions to control their behavior. When they feel angry, they speak harshly. When they feel frustrated, they give up quickly. When they feel excited, they make impulsive decisions without thinking carefully. These emotional reactions often lead to mistakes. For example, imagine a situation where someone criticizes your work or says something negative about you. The natural reaction might be to respond with anger or defend yourself immediately. But reacting in anger can often make the situation worse. Words spoken in anger can damage relationships, create unnecessary conflict, and cause regret later. People who have strong self-control learn to pause before reacting. Instead of allowing emotions to control their actions, they take a moment to calm their mind. This small pause can make a huge difference. When you pause, you give your brain time to think logically instead of reacting emotionally. You begin to ask yourself important questions. Is this situation worth my energy? Will my reaction improve the situation? What is the best response in the long term? This thoughtful approach leads to wiser decisions. Another important reason to control emotions is that emotions are temporary. Anger, frustration, and disappointment often feel very powerful in the moment, but they usually fade with time. If you react immediately during these intense emotions, you may act in ways that you later regret. But when you wait and allow emotions to settle, you can respond with a clearer mind. Controlling emotions also improves relationships. When people see that you remain calm and respectful, even in difficult situations, they begin to trust and respect you more. Emotional stability creates a sense of reliability. People feel comfortable around individuals who can handle challenges without becoming overly emotional. Another advantage of emotional control is better decision-making. Strong emotions can cloud your judgment. For example, when someone feels extremely excited, they may take risks without thinking about possible consequences. When someone feels afraid, they may avoid opportunities that could improve their life. By controlling emotions, you allow logic and wisdom to guide your decisions. Emotional control also strengthens your confidence. When you realize that you can stay calm in stressful situations, you begin to trust your ability to handle challenges. You no longer feel overwhelmed by small problems. Instead, you approach difficulties with patience and clarity. Developing emotional control requires practice. One helpful habit is learning to breathe deeply and slow down when strong emotions appear. Deep breathing can calm the body and help the mind think more clearly. Another helpful habit is observing your emotions without immediately reacting. Instead of letting anger or frustration take control, simply notice the emotion and allow it to pass. Over time, this awareness becomes stronger. You begin to recognize emotional patterns and handle them more wisely. The truth is simple. Emotions are powerful, but they do not have to control your life. When you learn to control your emotions, you gain control over your reactions, your decisions, and your relationships. This emotional discipline becomes the foundation of strong character and personal success. And once you master your emotions, you take the first and most important step toward mastering yourself. Lesson 2. Control your thoughts. After learning to control your emotions, the next important step in controlling yourself is learning to control your thoughts. Your thoughts are extremely powerful because they shape your actions, your behavior, and the direction of your life. Everything you do begins with a thought. If your mind is filled with negative thinking, fear, or constant worry, it becomes difficult to make good decisions or stay focused on your goals. Negative thoughts can slowly weaken confidence and make challenges appear larger than they really are. On the other hand, when your thoughts are calm, positive, and focused, your actions become more productive and purposeful. Many people struggle with self-control because their mind is constantly distracted. They think about too many things at the same time. Their mind jumps from one thought to another without direction. They worry about past mistakes, stress about the future, or compare themselves with others. When the mind becomes scattered, concentration becomes weak. A distracted mind often leads to impulsive decisions and poor habits. People who master self-control learn to guide their thoughts instead of allowing their thoughts to control them. This does not mean forcing the mind to become completely empty. Instead, it means choosing which thoughts deserve attention and which ones should be ignored. For example, if a negative thought appears in your mind, such as, "I cannot do this," or "this is too difficult," you have a choice. You can either believe that thought and lose motivation, or you can replace it with a more constructive thought, such as, "This is challenging, but I can improve with effort." This simple shift in thinking can change your entire mindset. Controlling your thoughts also means protecting your mental environment. What you read, watch, and listen to influences your thoughts. If you constantly expose your mind to negativity, distractions, or unhealthy content, your thoughts will naturally follow the same pattern. But when you fill your mind with positive ideas, learning, and meaningful information, your thinking becomes more focused and productive. Successful individuals are very careful about what they allow into their mind. They read books, listen to valuable ideas, and spend time learning things that improve their knowledge and perspective. Another important part of controlling thoughts is developing awareness. Often, people are not aware of the thoughts that appear in their mind throughout the day. These automatic thoughts influence behavior without being noticed. But when you become aware of your thoughts, you gain the ability to guide them. For example, if you notice your mind drifting toward unnecessary worries or distractions, you can gently bring your focus back to the present moment or to the task you are working on. This awareness is like training your mind. At first, it may feel difficult because the brain is used to wandering freely. But with practice, the mind becomes more disciplined and focused. Another powerful benefit of controlling your thoughts is improved concentration. When your thoughts become organized and purposeful, your attention becomes stronger. You can focus on important tasks without being constantly distracted by random ideas. This focused thinking helps you learn faster, work more efficiently, and make better decisions. Controlling your thoughts also strengthens your emotional balance. Many emotions are created by the way we think about situations. If you think negatively about every problem, emotions such as frustration or fear become stronger. But when your thinking becomes calm and logical, your emotions also become more stable. The truth is simple. Your mind can be your greatest strength or your greatest weakness. If you allow every thought to control you, your actions will become inconsistent and impulsive. But when you learn to guide your thoughts with awareness and discipline, you gain control over your behavior and your life. Over time, a disciplined mind becomes more focused, more confident, and more capable of achieving meaningful goals. And mastering your thoughts becomes one of the most powerful steps toward mastering yourself. Lesson 3. Control your habits. After learning to control your emotions and thoughts, the next important step in controlling yourself is learning to control your habits. Habits are the small actions we repeat every day without thinking too much about them. These actions may seem small, but over time they shape our character, our behavior, and our future. Your life today is largely the result of your habits. If someone has habits such as discipline, focus, and consistency, their life gradually moves toward success and improvement. But if someone has habits such as procrastination, distraction, or laziness, their life slowly becomes unorganized and unproductive. The powerful thing about habits is that they work automatically. Once a habit is formed, the brain performs that action almost without effort. This is helpful when the habit is positive, but it becomes harmful when the habit is negative. For example, many people develop the habit of checking their phone frequently. They may open social media or messages every few minutes without even realizing it. At first, this behavior feels harmless, but over time it reduces concentration, wastes valuable time, and weakens self-discipline. People who control themselves learn to examine their habits carefully. They ask themselves an important question. Are my habits helping me grow or holding me back? This simple question creates awareness. Once you become aware of your habits, you gain the power to change them. One of the most effective ways to control habits is replacing bad habits with better ones. Trying to remove a habit completely can be difficult because the brain is used to that routine. But replacing it with a positive alternative makes the change easier. For example, if someone spends too much time watching random videos, they can replace some of that time with reading, learning a skill, or exercising. Over time, the brain begins to adapt to the new routine. Another important step is consistency. Habits are built through repetition. When an action is repeated every day, the brain slowly turns it into a natural routine. Small actions repeated regularly can create powerful results. For example, reading just a few pages every day may not feel significant at first. But after several months or years, that small habit can greatly increase knowledge and understanding. Successful people often rely on strong habits rather than temporary motivation. Motivation can disappear quickly, but habits continue even when motivation feels low. This is why building good habits is one of the most powerful forms of self-control. Controlling habits also helps reduce decision fatigue. When your habits are organized and productive, you spend less time deciding what to do next. Your routine automatically guides you toward productive actions. This saves mental energy and helps you stay focused on important goals. Another important advantage of good habits is that they strengthen discipline. Every time you choose a productive habit over a distraction, you strengthen your ability to control yourself. This discipline slowly becomes part of your character. Over time, controlling habits becomes easier because your brain becomes used to the routine. You begin to notice that productive habits bring positive results. You feel more organized, more confident, and more focused. On the other hand, when habits are not controlled, life can easily become chaotic. Small negative habits can slowly grow into larger problems. For example, delaying work for a few minutes may eventually turn into hours of procrastination. But when you control your habits early, you prevent these patterns from growing. The truth is simple. Your habits quietly shape your future. You may not notice the effect immediately, but every repeated action is slowly building the direction of your life. When you learn to control your habits and replace negative routines with positive ones, you take a powerful step toward controlling yourself. And once your habits begin working in your favor, discipline becomes easier and success becomes more achievable. Lesson 4. Control your reactions. Another important step in learning how to control yourself is learning to control your reactions. Every day we face many situations that test our patience. Someone may criticize us, misunderstand our intentions, disagree with our opinions, or say something that makes us feel angry or upset. In these moments, the natural reaction for many people is to respond immediately. They react with anger, frustration, or defensive words without thinking carefully about the consequences. This impulsive reaction often makes the situation worse. A small disagreement can easily turn into a serious conflict simply because both people react emotionally. People who truly control themselves understand something very important. They know that while they cannot control everything that happens around them, they can control how they respond to it. Your reaction is always within your control. This simple idea is very powerful. When someone says something negative or behaves in an unpleasant way, you have two choices. You can react impulsively and allow your emotions to control the situation, or you can pause and respond with calm thinking. Learning to pause before reacting is one of the strongest signs of self-control. A short pause allows your mind to move from emotional reaction to logical thinking. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin to analyze the situation. You may ask yourself questions such as, is this situation worth my energy? Will my reaction improve the situation? What is the most mature response right now? Often, this small moment of reflection completely changes your response. Instead of reacting with anger, you may choose patience. Instead of arguing, you may choose silence. Instead of responding emotionally, you may choose to calmly explain your perspective. This controlled response protects your relationships and your peace of mind. Another important benefit of controlling your reactions is that it strengthens your emotional stability. When people react to every small problem, Their mood becomes controlled by outside events. A negative comment can ruin their day, and a disagreement can stay in their mind for hours. But individuals who control their reactions remain calm even when situations are difficult. They do not allow every external event to disturb their inner balance. This emotional stability creates confidence and maturity. People naturally respect individuals who remain calm under pressure. Controlling reactions also helps you avoid unnecessary regret. Many people later regret things they said during moments of anger. Words spoken during emotional reactions can damage relationships and create problems that last much longer than the original situation. But when you pause and control your reaction, you protect yourself from these mistakes. Another advantage of controlled reactions is that it allows you to see the situation more clearly. Sometimes people react strongly because they misunderstand something. By taking a moment to observe and think, you may realize that the situation is not as serious as it first appeared. This clarity prevents unnecessary conflict. Controlling your reactions also strengthens discipline. Every time you choose patience instead of impulsive reaction, you train your mind to become more balanced and thoughtful. Over time, this habit becomes natural. You begin to respond calmly even in challenging situations. This calm mindset allows you to handle problems more effectively and maintain better relationships with others. The truth is simple. Life will always present situations that challenge your emotions. But your strength does not come from controlling every situation around you. Your strength comes from controlling your response to those situations. When you learn to pause, think, and choose your reaction wisely, you develop true self-control. And that ability to control your reactions becomes one of the strongest signs of maturity, discipline, and inner strength. Lesson 5. Control your time. Another important part of controlling yourself is learning how to control your time. Time is one of the most valuable resources in life. Every person receives the same 24 hours in a day, but the way people use those hours determines the direction of their life. Many people struggle with self-control because they do not manage their time wisely. They wake up without a clear plan, spend hours on distractions, and delay important tasks. Activities like endless scrolling on the phone, watching unnecessary videos, or constantly checking social media slowly consume large amounts of time. At first, these distractions may seem small, but when they happen every day, they quietly take away hours that could have been used for learning, improving skills, or working toward meaningful goals. People who truly control themselves understand that controlling time is the same as controlling life. They do not allow random distractions to decide how their day will be spent. Instead, they make conscious choices about how to use their time. One of the first steps in controlling your time is setting clear priorities. Not every activity has the same level of importance. Some tasks help you grow, learn, and move closer to your goals. Other activities may provide temporary entertainment, but do not improve your future. When you learn to identify what is truly important, it becomes easier to focus your time on meaningful work. Successful individuals often begin their day with a clear plan. They know the tasks they want to complete and the goals they are working toward. This clarity prevents them from wasting time on unimportant activities. Planning does not have to be complicated. Even writing down the most important tasks for the day can greatly improve focus and productivity. Another important part of time control is avoiding procrastination. Procrastination is the habit of delaying important work and replacing it with easier or more comfortable activities. People often procrastinate because a task feels difficult or requires effort, but delaying work usually creates more stress later. The longer a task is postponed, the heavier it feels in the mind. People who control themselves learn to begin important tasks even when they do not feel completely motivated. They understand that action often creates motivation. Once they start working, the task usually becomes easier than they expected. Controlling time also means setting boundaries with distractions. Modern technology can easily interrupt focus many times during the day. Notifications, messages, and social media can break concentration repeatedly. People with strong self-control limit these interruptions. They choose specific times to check messages and keep their attention focused on their work during important periods. This discipline allows them to complete tasks faster and with better quality. Another advantage of controlling time is that it creates balance in life. When time is managed wisely, there is space for both productivity and rest. People can focus on their goals while also spending time with family, exercising, or relaxing their mind. Without time control, life can feel chaotic and overwhelming. But when time is organized carefully, daily life becomes calmer and more structured. Controlling time also strengthens discipline. Every time you choose to spend your time wisely instead of following distractions, you strengthen your ability to control your behavior. Over time, these small decisions build powerful habits. You begin to notice that your days become more productive, your progress becomes faster, and your confidence increases. The truth is simple. Time once lost can never be recovered. Every hour you spend becomes part of your life story. When you learn to control your time, you take control of your daily actions, your productivity, and your future. And mastering your time becomes one of the most powerful steps toward mastering yourself. Lesson 6. Control your desires. Another important part of learning how to control yourself is learning to control your desires. Human beings naturally have many desires. We want comfort, pleasure, entertainment, success, recognition, and many other things. These desires are normal and part of human nature. However, problems begin when desires start controlling our behavior. Many people struggle in life not because they lack intelligence or opportunity, but because they cannot control their desires. They choose short-term pleasure instead of long-term success. For example, a student may know that studying will help them build a better future, but the desire for entertainment or comfort may feel stronger at that moment. Instead of studying, they may choose to watch videos, play games, or scroll through social media for hours. In the moment, this decision feels easy and enjoyable. But over time, these small choices slowly weaken discipline and delay progress. People who control themselves understand an important truth. Not every desire deserves to be followed. Just because you feel like doing something does not mean it is the best choice. Self-control means having the strength to say no to temporary pleasures that may harm your future. This ability is what separates disciplined individuals from those who struggle with self-control. Successful people often choose long-term rewards over short-term comfort. They may wake up early to work on their goals even when they feel tired. They may continue learning and practicing even when the process feels difficult. They understand that controlling desires today creates better opportunities tomorrow. Another important reason to control desires is that many desires are temporary. When a strong desire appears, it can feel urgent and powerful. But if you wait and give yourself time, the intensity of that desire often fades. For example, when someone suddenly feels the urge to check their phone or eat unhealthy food, waiting for a few minutes can weaken the impulse. This simple pause gives the mind time to think more clearly. People who practice this habit slowly strengthen their self-control. Controlling desires also helps develop discipline. Discipline means doing what is necessary even when it feels uncomfortable. For example, exercising regularly, learning new skills, or working toward long-term goals often requires effort and patience. Without controlling desires for comfort and distraction, these tasks may feel difficult to continue. But when you control your desires, you train your mind to stay committed to your goals. Another advantage of controlling desires is greater mental freedom. When people constantly follow every desire that appears, they become controlled by their impulses. Their behavior becomes unpredictable and inconsistent. But when someone learns to guide their desires instead of following them blindly, they gain control over their actions. This control creates confidence and stability. Controlling desires also helps create better habits. Many bad habits begin with small desires that are repeated again and again. For example, the desire to delay work, the desire for constant entertainment, or the desire to avoid difficult tasks can slowly turn into habits that weaken productivity. But when you control these impulses, you prevent them from becoming destructive patterns. Over time, disciplined behavior becomes easier. Your mind becomes stronger and more focused. The truth is simple. Desires will always exist, but they do not have to control your life. When you learn to pause, think, and choose actions based on long-term goals instead of temporary feelings, you gain real control over yourself. And that ability to control your desires becomes one of the most powerful strengths a person can develop for building success and a balanced life. Lesson 7. Control your actions. The final and most important step in learning how to control yourself is learning to control your actions. Your actions are the final result of everything that happens inside your mind. Your thoughts create emotions, your emotions influence decisions, and your decisions eventually turn into actions. In the end, it is your actions that shape your life. Many people know what they should do, but they still fail to do it. They understand that studying, working hard, exercising, or improving their skills will help them build a better future. But knowing something and doing something are two very different things. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is often found in their actions. Successful individuals train themselves to act with discipline even when they do not feel motivated. They understand that motivation is temporary. Some days they may feel excited and energetic, while on other days they may feel tired or discouraged. But they do not allow their feelings to control their actions. Instead, they rely on discipline. Discipline means doing what is necessary even when it feels difficult. For example, imagine someone who wants to become healthier. They know that exercising regularly will improve their health. But waking up early or exercising after a long day of work can feel uncomfortable. If that person waits until they feel motivated, they may exercise only occasionally. But a disciplined person takes action even when motivation is low. They follow their plan because they know that consistent action produces long-term results. Controlling your actions also requires responsibility. It means understanding that your life is shaped by the choices you make every day. Some people blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their situation. While life can sometimes be unfair, constantly blaming external factors prevents personal growth. People who control themselves take responsibility for their actions. They focus on what they can control, rather than what they cannot control. This mindset gives them the power to change their future. Another important part of controlling actions is consistency. Success is rarely the result of one big action. Instead, it comes from many small actions repeated consistently over time. Reading a few pages every day, practicing a skill regularly, exercising consistently, and improving habits step by step can create powerful results. But these results appear only when actions are repeated regularly. Consistency requires patience. Many people start strong but stop when they do not see immediate results. They lose motivation because progress feels slow. But people with strong self-control understand that meaningful progress takes time. They continue taking action even when results are not immediately visible. Over time, these consistent actions create powerful momentum. Another benefit of controlling your actions is increased confidence. Every time you follow through on a commitment or complete a task you planned, you prove to yourself that you are capable of discipline. This builds trust in your own abilities. Confidence built through action is much stronger than confidence based only on words or intentions. Controlling your actions also helps you overcome distractions. The modern world offers many temptations that can easily pull your attention away from important goals. But when you learn to guide your actions intentionally, you become less influenced by these distractions. You begin to focus on activities that truly move your life forward. The truth is simple. Your life is not defined by what you say you will do. It is defined by what you actually do. Thoughts and plans are important, but without action, they remain only ideas. When you learn to control your actions, you turn your ideas into reality. You become the person who follows through on commitments, stays consistent with goals, and builds a disciplined lifestyle. And once you reach the point where your actions are guided by discipline rather than temporary emotions, you truly gain control over yourself and your future. If you enjoyed this video and found these ideas helpful, make sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful lessons about mindset, personal growth, and success. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.